Sam Scinta is in the studio with me. He is a political science professor at Viterbo and in servant leadership there. He's also at UW La Crosse. He's also the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce. But we've been talking about Civics and Cinema series that the Rivoli has been doing for about 2 years now, I think he said. And they're showing All the President's Men on Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. It's $5. We just learned all that money goes to nonprofits. So all the proceeds go to this. So it's good for the community. And you learn something and you kind of get a free conversation about when it comes to this movie. Is this the most political movie? Because this is about Watergate, right?
Yeah, I would say this is probably, this and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington are the most pointedly political movies we've watched, where they're really about politics, the political process, political figures. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington was fictional. This one is obviously grounded in reality. Spoiler alert, Nixon resigns. If you didn't know that from the 70s. But this is all about that Watergate investigation that the Washington Post did. So it's not just about the political process. It's really, the core is about the press and the role that the press plays in our political sphere. So if you kind of think about it that way, you know, we think about the media, and obviously there's a lot of takes on the media these days. This was a time in the 1970s where the media was really kind of finding its footing in terms of trying to hunt out corruption, misdeeds, and the like. And this was really the birth of a lot of what we see, maybe for better, maybe for worse, of what we see in our media political relationship today. But it follows the story of Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward and their kind of tenacious, dogged following up of this story, which really, when it first appeared, was a real minor story. And they just kept pushing, you know, kind of hunting and looking, and other reporters were working as well. But this one focuses on the two of them. And really then what led to the uncovering of the story, which was really the cover-up of the initial crimes. So it's not a documentary. It's actually one of the more compelling films that you can watch. And this is a movie, it's 1976, we have to remember. This is a context of times where movies were touching on a lot of these political or broad civic themes. So it was not uncommon to have movies like All the President's Men, but also movies like The Candidate, The Parallax View, Taxi Driver, which, I mean, had social, civic themes embedded in there, where directors weren't afraid to kind of look at some of these ideas and put them under the microscope and then let people talk about those in good conversation.
Yeah, the only movie I can remember in this context is way later, right? JFK.
Yeah, JFK would be, but it kind of in that tradition, right? That these are movies that
are we doing movies like this anymore?
We really aren't. And I listen to a lot of movie podcasts, again, being kind of a movie nerd. You often hear people referring to the fact that, like, they don't make adult movies anymore, meaning not what people kind of go, you know, to their first instinct, but movies for thoughtful conversation, movies that people like you and I would just like to go see and then be able to talk about it afterwards.
Yeah, we do a lot of documentaries, but we don't
documentaries are there. Yeah, they're great. And some of them are exceptional, right? But they're a different animal than when we can actually show things that are driven by real world events, but in a dramatic fashion.
A lot of times the documentaries too, like there's the Michael Jackson documentary out right now, but it was made by the Michael Jackson people. So like you're not going to get any of the real stuff.
So, but I look at a movie like Spotlight, right? Won the Oscar 2015, 2016. So there was a great example that we still make them. We just don't make them as frequently. It seems like in the 70s, we were doing a lot of this. We don't do a lot of it today, but when we do, oftentimes people do like them. They win awards. People admire those films. And they show us a little bit about how society works in that civic sense, right? How it kind of peels back the layers of, well, this is the dogged work of journalists, and this is what it actually looks like to hunt a story, or this is what it looks like when the government is operating in this way, and here are the players involved. And sometimes it's not even the players you know and the big name characters, right?
Yeah.
But it adds some drama to it as well. You know, I think All the President's Men does a pretty good job of sticking to the facts, but they certainly take dramatic license, just like every movie that's not
well played by Robert Redford.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, like, okay, so the movie will happen. Is there like a Q&A, or do you guys just lecture?
No, it is definitely a conversation. So the 5 minutes before the movie, I don't want to call it a lecture. That makes it sound boring and horrible.
It up, we get that.
But yeah, basically just giving context. But afterwards, it is pure conversation. So we want to hear what people think about it. We might have some questions to try and provoke conversation, but the whole idea is not for people to tell you, okay, now we're going to tell you the 25 things that you saw, and here's,
Right.
make sure to get all this down for your final essay so you can turn that in. It is definitely more of a, let's talk about this. And what did you notice of this that maybe pertains to your civic life today? What did you see on the screen there that you really want to explore and talk about? And we oftentimes get people talking with each other, and our job is just to moderate and host the conversation.